Today is the 31st of December, and we're going to be in New Year's soon. And I want everyone to know, those that are watching this another video, that yeah, the world is different. Yeah, you probably noticed the changes as well. But for me, it's been awareness. It's been awareness of not only changes, but that people are becoming less of themselves, because the situations of life, and there's so many reasons, but one of them is the economy right now is terrible. Some people are coping, some people are just going out and spending like there's no tomorrow. And we live in a dystopia right now. We live in a time where I haven't ever witnessed such amounts of depravity. I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but it's deprived, it's lackluster, it's shallow, it's dark, and it's dehumanizing. I've never witnessed a time when everyone was struggling with the basics. Everyone is struggling because it used to be just people that are foreigners. It used to be just people that are, they didn't have anything from their parents, no assets, no nothing. Or it used to be people that were doing drugs, doing gambling, doing things that make them lose money, and they've messed up their life. But now I'm seeing ordinary working people struggling to make ends meet. This has been highlighted better with channels like Gary's Economics. He's talked about how the working class is getting so impacted these recent 5 years because of how they dealt with the crash in COVID. Now, I feel, I don't know even how to say it. It's become a norm where people are struggling. We're getting into the complete normalcy of people just struggling on a day-to-day basis, and most people around us that we see. And I do ask myself if being normal, because inevitably over time it gets normal, is it right? That we're all heading towards a path that we're not ourselves. That's the main problem. It's not about control. It's not about your impact on this world and the country and the town that you're living in, but it's, are you yourself? And a lot of people are not asking this question. I think it's probably the most important question that you can ask today, because today is the time when people should be themselves. In hard times, stronger people are created, but also authenticity is important to be stronger, because otherwise you're stronger but you're fake. You're not yourself. And there's a lot of consequences to that. There's personal reasons why that's a problem, where you struggle with yourself, you struggle with your emotions, you don't have a balance of yourself and your life. But also because the environment around you is being influenced by someone that isn't you, that isn't human. You are human and you have different characteristics, but if you're not yourself, then you're inhuman. You tend to do things that are inhuman. And we do a lot of things in our day-to-day where it's so cold, that people, that's how I feel when I go to run some errands, when I'm collecting a parcel, when I'm talking with someone across the street, maybe in a bar. Not in a bar, I never go to a bar, a pub, or in a shop, in a cafe, or in a park. Although park is usually better than anywhere else. The conversations there are usually better. It's maybe because people are relaxed there, people are not working. When you're working, you tend not to be relaxed. You tend not to speak as if you're like yourself. You just kind of going with the script, I've gotten used to it, I've there's been some times where I don't recognize myself, when I look at myself and when I remember yesterday how I spoke to someone across the street, wherever I was, I felt like I wasn't myself, and this is still continuing even now, and I'm trying to regulate it. I'm trying to make it less often where I don't feel disassociated, or I don't even know what the word for it is. Disassociation probably. And it's taking tolls on me, and people that are also being like me, that are acting mindless, because it becomes the norm, as people, you look around you, whatever that people tend to do, you tend to copy it, whether it's right or wrong, whether it's like it's natural or unnatural, you just copy it. And that's the case here, I'm copying things that I'm not, that feel unnatural, that feel out of place. And it feels, the whole atmosphere feels like cope. People are coping to get through the other year. People are coping to pay their rent, to just eat, to just, like the fun aspect has been stripped out these days, because fun is forced for some reason. I don't know why that is, but fun is forced nowadays. That's what I've noticed for sure. And look around you, you look at the products that relate to a TV show, maybe, it could be Harry Potter, whatever it is. It could be Stranger Things, it could be other kind of TV series, movies, games that you play. Everything's quality is being lowered. Not only because it's financially more required for businesses to run, but also because there's greed, obviously, but also because we're allowing it. We're allowing the degradation of the things that we find interesting, the things that we find as a hobby, the things that we enjoy, that we believe in. Our own preferences are being degraded. When I look at these items that you buy, I don't only just see items, I see things that you associate with, you have a connection to. And when their quality lowers, it's not just logically what you think, it's lower quality, it's also mental degradation as well, because you're associated with the moment, you're associated with, how it links with your life, maybe how it links with your preferences, what you like to do. And it makes you weaker, it makes you not want to dream. I think one of the greatest things about being a person is to be able to dream. It's everyone's right, but not everyone's dream should become a reality, of course. It's just seeing the degradation of it, seeing it be optional, seeing it be not even just optional, but pushed out of people's minds as impossible, as unreasonable. You see a lot of people that become monsters. You see a lot of people that become bad, inhuman, cold, shallow. And I don't know what to call it, because for me it's not like a clear line. It's not someone's a vampire, someone's a zombie, I don't know. But I just see that person as not themselves. I see them as not a person. And that's the most disturbing thing for me. It's not loneliness, it's not this world, it's not like being with nature, which is strange. It feels strange to me. Like, I'm curious, I'm interested. It's also a bit like sometimes boring, sometimes fun, I don't know. It always changes. It's a mix of emotions, but people are really valuable. The people around you, because imagine if you was to live still in nature but all by yourself. It would be kind of bad, because a person needs a person. But I've noticed a lot of people that are around me, they've been degraded, and it feels weird. If it feels surreal, it feels like honestly, it feels like I'm in a game. It doesn't feel like this is real life, because I see so many people that are degraded, so many people that are not themselves, that are on autopilot. And it's worrying. It's not something that I worry about. Like, I don't lose sleep over this usually. But I do think about this from time to time, like what's gonna happen to people that are living, the people that maybe kids. It could be kids. Not all kids are good though, of course not. But just the people that are still themselves, that are looking after themselves, that are looking after the living things around them. What's gonna happen to them? Yeah. The living things, it's almost like if you don't water the grass that is below you. I mean, no, what was it called? Water is, no, grass is greener where you water it. And that's how life is like in general. Not only just grass, but people, trees, animals. Nothing thrives when there isn't water, when there isn't care, when there isn't love, when there isn't compassion. So, if there isn't care, compassion, if there's no humanity behind it left in general in society, if society is dysfunctional, then that is the water. That's the thing that we need to be green. And we're not, we are very, very shallow. I feel very, very strange being around. Like, I look around me and I see, restaurants, cafes, and people sitting there. They're putting up a persona. They're putting up an image. There is a sense of pretending. It's almost like you're in theatre all the time, constantly. And the theatre, as a kid, I would see this, but I wouldn't. It wouldn't be that deep. It would just be like, well, I guess that's the way it is. And I would feel irritated sometimes. I would feel like annoyed. Like, why is it like this? Why are you guys pretending to enjoy some food together, but you guys actually don't like each other? Why is that? What's the point? And I saw this more and more and more. I saw this become a way of life for some people around me. And I guess this is the most disturbing thing, because a person that is lifeless is disturbing to me. It's bad. People are, I don't know what to say. Where we're all in a theatre together, packed, doing the things that are on the script, playing out the roles that we are given. And I think to myself, is the thing inside of me, the nature inside of me, more important than this theatre? Is it? Should I listen to whatever I'm feeling inside? Not because it's so much of a bias. I'm trying to just feel as a person and say, this is reality and this is how I feel. And should I be in touch with it, or should I follow the script? Because the script, usually it tends to disregard yourself and, what's the word for it? Neglect yourself, your soul, your feelings, your dreams. In entertainment, in smiling, in working, in the hustle, it's like a fog, it's like a smoke that once you walk in it, it becomes life, it becomes normal. The cloud, the smoke becomes home. I don't know why my voice is breaking a lot this morning, but it is what it is. And so many people with cars. I came from London, so I've been used to seeing a lot of people that are well off, I guess. And I saw, like, I don't know what to call it. People that are a lot of people that are well off in this kind of place in London, and they're playing a role, and you see them happy, you see them excited, you see them interested, you see them vibing, but it's actually not real. Like, many of the times, not always, but many of the time, 70% of the time, in my perspective, I've seen that it's not real. They are playing a persona. And for me, it feels really bizarre. For me, it feels like, what's the point? What is the point of having small talk, a coffee, or would you like to go here? We can try out this spot. And it's like, life feels free, but it's not free whatsoever. You're bombarded with ads. You pay way too much for a coffee, way too much for the amount of work that you have to do to purchase it. You pretend to be someone that you're not. You pretend to have money. You pretend to have a life. You pretend to be a mother, you pretend to be an uncle. You know, such as my uncle. It's I've been more of an uncle to my uncle than he has been an uncle to me, which is very strange, but it is what it is. I tell you as it is. And we went to have breakfast outside. Could have been indoors, but you know, because I hadn't specified, we just had it outside. Anyways, when we did, he acted so proud, like he was flaunting that I was his nephew, and for me, I just kind of went along with it. But I felt in me that it wasn't true. You know, like we're pretending to be close, we're pretending to hug, we're pretending to be like so united, but we're not actually. We're not actually united. And I don't mean like we need to be united a lot. Like, we need to be very tight. But it's not true. You know, it's not true. That's crazy to me. I helped this guy more than he helped me. And I could say that about my dad. I could say that about my mum. I helped her have some hobbies, to get out of a rut, to improve her life with her friends, and have a better lifestyle, even financially, you know, from a young age. That I gave guidance, like I made us stable, you know, and I've been proud of this, but the problem is I realized how the reason why I was so good at usually multiple things is because I didn't fake it. Like I didn't pretend to be someone. I didn't pretend to have a persona. You know, I wasn't pretending to know some things, usually, most of the time, that I didn't actually know. And these people did. That's usually why they would fail. You know, because you have to be in touch with reality to have success. And to have failure also. You need to be okay with failure. And these people weren't okay with failure. You know. So that's usually why I was more successful than them and more on a constant basis. But it took a lot of my energy. It took a lot of my mental state, my mood, my thought process, my self-care. Because I was always focused on the problems. I was always focused on how can I solve this, or how can we make this more efficient? How can we have a better friendship with this person? How can we treat this family member better because they have these problems, these mental issues? This, you know, one of my uncles is alcoholic. He's having issues. How can we make his situation better? What would be a stupid decision and what would be smart? And I had inputs to this to solve these issues. Some of them they would not listen to me, but sometimes where they had, you know, no choice but to listen to me. Maybe, I don't know, because they didn't know about it, or maybe I don't know, such as properties and whatnot. I won't go into it, but that's how it is. It's it does feel lonely that I wasn't taken care of. You know, I've been taken care of, but I wasn't taking care of myself. And it feels even weirder that I've loved and cared some of these people in this way, like such as being an uncle for my uncle and being a dad for my dad, that it feels strange where they act like it's the opposite. You know, they gaslight you into thinking that they're still playing that role, you know, the role, the familial role, or maybe a friend role or something. That's how it's been. It feels weird that they're pretending, you know. Can't pretend. I can't do it inside of me. Sometimes I can pretend. Like, let's say if I was to put as a percentage, 30% of the time I can pretend, but 70% of the time I can't. You know, I can't. Like, I literally can't. If he was to force me and like choke me, I can't. You know, 50-70% I can't. And that has consequences in the world that is today, because you're gonna be punished. You're gonna have issues, more issues, if you don't pretend and go along with it. You know, problems are gonna happen. So people that want self-validation, they'll start hating you. They'll start trying to put you down. They'll try to control your environment. They'll try to sabotage you. Overall, I'm sad. I would say I'm sad with people that are imitating to be something they're not only with themselves but around me. And there is honor that is missing around so many people. It makes me irritated. It makes me confused. How is there this many people that have lost their honor or don't have honor? You know, they don't have principles. They don't have. There's nothing existing inside. For some, and for some, they just lost their morals, and they're like their honor. Because inside of me, if I was to act that way, I feel shame inside. You know, I can't look you in the eyes properly. Sometimes when I know that, oh crap, you know, I'm not this person. I'm pretending to be. You know, let's say I'm pretending to be, I don't know, a smart scientist, right? I can't look in your eyes and just be like, yeah, and be fully serious that don't worry, I'm fantastic. I know this subject, I know this topic, I'm the right person. I can't do it. But a lot of people can. A lot of people can. And it's ruthless. I tell you that, it's ruthless. Genuinely ruthless. Savages, man. I've never been around so many people and felt so alone, so much like they don't exist. Like they're right next to me, you know, maybe they're shoulder to shoulder, they're a married couple, and they just don't feel like they're there. You know, they just feel like so tough to watch. My own personal life with my parents has been one of the biggest life-changing things for me, and realizations that I've had, period. I think first place, it's made me realize that life is not what I thought it was. You know, I had feelings of life being different, but I never knew. I never understood. until now. And I see other people that were also in like a similar predicament, a similar situation as my parents. It feels weird. It really feels weird. Of course there's going to be suffering in this world. Of course there's going to be pain. You know, of course there's going to be people that are broken and that are being broken. It's normalized, okay, you know, and it's a part of reality. This is something that I accept. It's just today life has become way more ruthless than I remember 10 years ago. I really, really do, honest to God. You know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I still was living in a place where I didn't feel like home whatsoever. Like London never felt like home to me. I can say that clearly and openly. There has been some occasions where, you know, some secondary schools where I felt comfortable and good, and the people were fantastic. You know, one of my secondary schools was amazing. But I still felt the city was choked, you know, and when I went into uni, I realized how different the people were compared to my secondary school. Secondary, there is diversity, you know, there's actually people that are very smart, very stupid, very clever, very funny, very weird, foreign, tall, short, everything. And that was beautiful to see. But in uni it wasn't like that. It was very narrowed down, and narrowed down in a bad way, in a way where they would never rebel against anything. It was just like crazy, you know, because in life things will happen that you just like, well, this was unacceptable, like I don't accept that, you know, this crossed the line for me. For me, this is not okay. None of it. None of it. They just continue like life is no problem. You can destroy me, you know. I paid 27 grand of loans. It's no problem. You can mess it up. You lied to me. You gaslighted me of the courses that we had, the lessons that we were supposed to be taking, but we missed because of COVID. It's okay. It's no problem. We missed maybe even half of the whole course, and the rest of the half was garbage quality, and yet it's okay. You know, we had complaints. Some people did complain, but there was no character, there was no soul, there was no unitement, there was nothing. It was just, it was they're trying to be somebody they're not, you know. They're trying to fit in a persona that they have inside of their head, a fantasy, and nothing else matters. Not the 30 grand, not the parents that made commitments, nothing. Like, it's just, it's brutal. Cold, is shallow. And that taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about the society that is shifting, that is changing, and how diversity is a good thing, but too much diversity is really bad wherever that you live, you know. But there needs to be a balance. Shouldn't be the same types of people, and shouldn't be very, very different types of people either. They're both just as bad as each other. And pretty much what happened. Been surrounded by lifeless people, you know. I say it as it is. I don't care what is your fault. Lifeless people, I swear to God. I wish that you could see life through my eyes, you know. It's not like this boy is negative like this. I'm telling you as it is. As it is. I'm just, you know, like, I'm glass. 80% lifeless. Not a scent in them. Not, you know, not a light in them. Caught up in a daze, caught up in the theatre, you know. And pretending. You look at Disney, pretending. You look at Chinatown in London, it feels pretentious. You look at different places, you know, you look at experiences like the Hogwarts experience, for example. Don't quote me, I haven't been in, so I don't know, but pretentious. You look at Disneyland, pretentious. You look at Paris, where you go to the Eiffel Tower, it's pretentious. It's people that are taking photos of things that they hope to be rather than they are, whatever that they are, you know. They take a photo of together, usually couples, and it's like an assignment, you know. Life becomes ugly when things become an assignment. When too many things become assignments, life becomes ugly. You know, life becomes lifeless. Everything's a fucking assignment. You know, dating people is an assignment. Finding a job, you know, or I don't know, helping your friend out find a job, helping your cousin. It feels like an assignment. Going to the pub feels like an assignment. It doesn't feel, usually, most of the time, 80-90% of the time, it's not natural. It's not natural. You're not going with the flow. You're playing the game. You're throwing the dice over and over again, expecting, I don't know, to live. And a lot of people are disassociative. A lot of people are not aware of what is important in life and what's not important. And they chase comfort, they chase happiness, it's always chasing, you know. That's what I've noticed. A lot of people around me, they are focused on chasing. Chasing to be relevant, chasing to be loved, chasing to be accepted, appreciated, even when they're not. If you want to be good, you have to be good. If you want to be bad, you be bad. If you want to be clever, you must be clever. It's not like if I look like it, I'll be it, you know. Sometimes in the economy that's true, but in the broader sense of life, it's not true. You know, fake confidence doesn't make you confident. Fake charisma, fake everything, you know. Style is fake. I met someone in uni that literally said to my face, he said he's like a chameleon, like he shifts into any environment that it is. And it felt off to me. And then later when I thought about it, I was like, this is extremely abnormal. You know, that's not the usual, where you're pretending to be someone that you're not. Just to be around everyone. You know, it's a bit crazy. It is the way it is. I think to lose yourself is to chase. If you chase too much, you lose yourself. As simple as. You will lose yourself. And yourself, keeping yourself and being in touch with yourself is the most important thing. You can scratch family, you can scratch everything else. That is the most important thing. Because once you have that, everything else becomes possible. Loving other people becomes possible. Having success in your dreams, in something that you want to make a reality, something that you think is teaching yourself that you're growing, becomes a reality. And we've neglected ourselves. I think we're going into another year that we are neglecting ourselves, and we're continuing. And I hope this is going to be a reminder to pick up yourself and care, Don't care for anyone else that is watching. Just care when no one else is looking. Care. Your environment is you. The ground that you walk on is you. Take care of your surroundings, man. No image is greater than you being part of life, and you being part of your surroundings is greatness. Being part of life, being part of what God's created. Nurturing it, caring for it, and watering it. Watering society is greatness. No matter what path we pick, we all end up back in nature. We all end up dead. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening.